that rock for a minute. Welcome. I'm not sure if we're recording. Hey. Hey, welcome to Transparent Conversations. I am Calvin, or CPJR if you know me, or CPJR 300 if you feel me. Welcome back to Transparent Conversations, Elevated Exchanges on YouTube and Substack. This is the frame because the way stories are framed matters. And I'm going to try to do my best to talk about things that are relevant with the news and the current situation that we're facing every day with this current government and now the war with Iran. And tonight we'll be talking about should the Republican Party continue to exist? I wrote about that 2 days ago. It's posted up on my Substack, Transparent Conversations. And if you want to take some time to read it. Also, if you are a returning person, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. I am picking up a few new subscribers. I'm going to be totally transparent. I have 93 subscribers on YouTube and 43 subscribers on Substack, and that's actually been picking up because I don't have a viral video. I just been picking up users or viewers or subscribers here and there. So like I said, if you get a chance, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Or if you want to get in contact with me, please hit me up on Substack or here to let me know if you wanted to help discuss anything or talk about anything or want to hear me talk about anything. So like I said, I wrote a short little essay about the Republican Party because basically I've been concerned about the Republican Party and where they were going for a long time. I mean, I'm going to show really why and why I wrote about it, but I'm going to talk about it right now about how I don't understand the Republican Party. Ever since especially since Reagan, right? After we had, I'm going to be 16 this month. But so after we had, what's the guy's name? Jesus Christ. The peanut farmer. Bill Clinton. Not Bill Clinton. Carter. We had Jimmy Carter. So Jimmy Carter was the president. Then we had Ronald Reagan, right? So it started to switch over into this whole supply side economics, and they wanted to they wanted for government services they wanted government to be like a business, and that doesn't work, right? We got for-profit prisons. Now we got for-profit detention centers, and it seemed to me like the Republican Party started morphing into something that wasn't going to be good for the country. And what I believe is that the Republican Party was always going to bring us to where we are right now. If this was going to happen, something like what happened in Germany, it was going to come through the Republican Party because they started acting as if the party was more important than the country. You cannot tell me that the policies that they've been implementing or trying to implement have been any good. Because they haven't been good. They can't be good. So I have something going on, sorry. So they haven't been good. They aren't good for the country. Here we are right now. We have a line con man in the Oval Office he's a criminal. I mean, that's all I can say is he's a criminal because there's nothing but crime coming out of the White House and illegal war now with Iran, and it's so bad that we can't get an answer as to. I mean, when you really think about it, we know why we're at war right now. We're at war because Israel wanted this war to happen, and that's why we're at war. You know what I'm saying? That's just it. We're at war because Israel wanted the war to happen, and they pretty much have said that over the last couple of days. Rubio, he was saying that well, we had information that Israel was going to attack, so we know if Israel was going to attack, then they were going to attack us, so we went ahead and attacked them. I don't really I don't but they hasn't been discussing that with anyone, right? It hasn't been discussed with anyone, hasn't been discussed with the American people, it hasn't been discussed with the Congress. There's been any authorization for Congress because they don't really care about Congress, they don't respect Congress. So how do you have a party that doesn't respect its constituents? And that started a long time ago with the gaslighting, and I've talked about that too, how the Republican Party has been gaslighting MAGA, trying to gaslight the country, but especially MAGA, that MAGA has lost their individual identity, and that's why you see all of the videos coming out now about how they are coming out of MAGA. They're crying and all this stuff and asking for forgiveness because they see that they've been part of this. But the one group that you don't see coming out with any issues and still standing behind the president is the Republican Party in the Senate and the House. They have the power to stop this at any given time, but they won't, because the Democrats are trying to impeach him. They're trying to defund everything, but it won't go through because they don't care about their constituents. Because when they go to town halls, they're getting confronted, they're getting yelled at, and then a lot of times they leave. A lot of them aren't even holding town halls anymore because it's not good for them. I think I forgot some things. Did I? I don't know. Yeah, that first band you heard was Vybe. Vybe band is the go-go band of the week. I think they're still active. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, so just today, a few minutes ago, right before I started, like an hour ago, and I just saw some more of it. A Republican senator attacked the Marine. They broke his hand. Because the Marine was there to say that he doesn't want to die for Israel. He didn't want his Marine brothers, to die for Israel, because nobody believes this war is for United States. Nobody. I'm sorry, but there's a evangelical Christian Zionists who believe that this is the end times and this war is gonna bring back Jesus. That's what they believe. That's what they're telling their troops. We have military commanders telling their troops that this is a divine war and a president has been anointed. They've been complaining to their I guess whoever they can. I think I don't have the information, but they've been complaining about their commanders, telling them that this is a divine war. We have a separation of church and state. Now, if you're a Muslim in the military, how do you feel about that? If you're not a Christian in the military, how do you feel about that? Your commander is telling you that this is a divine war, and this is going to bring back Christ, and the president is anointed. Like, how do you feel when something like that happens? You're going to feel bad about it, but this is where we are now. We have this is, like I said, this has been rolling along. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to read the first paragraph as I do, and then we're going to go to some videos. The first paragraph of my essay, and the essay I wrote, should the Republican Party continue to exist? Now, I know that's not up to me, you, or anyone else. It's up to the Republican Party. But for me, the question is, with what we're seeing, this isn't normal, right? And they have the power to stop this. They won't stop this. There are 6 people dead. There are missiles, bombs, and missile bombs and drones blowing up everything all around the Middle East. They torpedoed a ship in the Indian Ocean. I don't know why they torpedoed the ship in the Indian Ocean. It was a ship. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. And they don't have a plan. They've been bombing Tehran, and they don't really have a plan what comes after the bombing. So they're doing basically what they did to Gaza, and they're destroying the country, the infrastructure. So if the people who are trapped there, they don't like the same thing with the Palestinians in Gaza. They're trapped between Hamas and Israel. The people are just right here. They're trying to live their life, but you have the Hamas is a terrorist organization, but they can't. The people who are just going to work every day with their kids, they can't direct Hamas and tell them what to do. But Hamas hates Israel for a reason. For a cause, right? So they can't just go against Hamas because they'll kill them too. Same thing with Iran. The people of Iran can't go against the leadership, but that leadership didn't just happen to get there. There's history behind that too, and no one's talking about the history. I'm gonna have a video on that too because people seem to have forgotten about the Shah of Iran, the hostage crisis in Iran, and what came after that. Iran didn't just pop up out of nowhere and become this terrorist state. There's been some issues to get them there. They've been some double dealing to get them there, and it's been about who controls their oil, and that they installed a Shah who was a dictator, and here we are. They took over the country and took the hostages, and now we're here with the Ayatollah, and now they've killed that Ayatollah, and we don't know what comes next, and neither do they. So, all right, let me read. Let me see. Should the Republican Party continue to exist? You already know my answer. What does the Republican Party want for America, or what has the Republican Party done for America? I personally don't have any good answers to that question. In my lifetime, it has been the Democrats that have tirelessly worked to create a safety net for every citizen, regardless of party membership. Also, in my lifetime, it has been the Republicans that have spent that same amount of time trying to destroy that safety net. How did the Republican Party get to the point that a billionaire businessman without any real political power or experience rise up to lead the party? Trump actually told us why he chose the Republican Party for his move to destroy the world. His Republican voters are loyal. Lost my place. Lost my place. Excuse me. But I'm out. Yeah. His Republican voters are loyal. So loyal that he stated in 2016 that he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue, shoot someone, and they would still vote for him. I beg you to look up that video for yourself and see the crowd's reaction. They started laughing. It was a joke. But he was right. That's the Republican Party, and they were headed in this direction for a very long time. And the reason I say they've been heading in this direction for a very long time is because they're the ones who started with the all these pledges and contracts. They started, I remember back in, I don't know, Newt Gingrich, right? He's the one who started. For me, I think Bob Dole, Newt Gingrich, Bob Dole's Senate. So yeah, so Newt Gingrich was the Speaker of the House in about '94, and he came out with this contract with America. And from that point on, they had started having pledges and all these kind of things. And it seemed to me as if they were choosing. It seems to me they were choosing party over country, and it seems they're still there. They still do it to this day. Like, they see the destruction. They see that people are losing their benefits. They see the violence overseas. They see the violence of ICE, but they do nothing. They tell us that we're wrong and they're right. That's not a party. That's not a party that's working for their constituents.
We're here because we are taking the first steps, and we're taking them in a contract with the American people. We've already told the incumbents and the candidates that if we have a majority, if the American people accept this contract, that they can expect to work 5 days a week in January 6
Like,
days
this
a
is
week
what they
in
do now.
February and March, and 24 hours a day around the clock towards the end if necessary. But we are going to get to the final recorded votes in the first 100 days on every item.
Keep paying attention. There's another thing you need to watch, and I'll point it
You
out.
know, you would have thought
Here
with
he
a
comes.
positive contract, with positive ideas, with 8 reform steps in the opening day, and with 10 bills, that the press corps would have finally said, what a difference.
Let's start attacking the media.
What a change from 30-second attack ads. What a change from the usual lack of teamwork and lack of specificity. But instead, we've had the usual carping, the usual complaining, the usual negativism from an all-too-cynical Washington press corps, which attacks us for term limits, for balanced budget amendment. One columnist called our contract an airball. Now, I recognize, sadly, that the Washington press corps is all too often the Praetorian Guard of the left. But
See, this is before Fox News.
But it tells you something. It tells you something about how out of touch they are with the American people. That every item in our contract is supported by 60% or more of the American people.
I don't know.
Some of the items are supported as much as 80% of the
I
American
doubt
people.
it, though.
And
I
outside
doubt
Washington, this is
But
a
they do have
contract with Americans for America.
Okay, so now we see, like, right there, they started attacking the media. They started saying that our ideas were better, and they started saying that like they got into that thing about I don't care what the people think, this is what we're going to do. I don't, the same thing, just throw out facts, figures, and it's like they don't, and then I don't know if that's like true, like what they were saying. Like, I don't know if that was good, right? Like, his career ended it in controversy. He had personal issues, as Republicans often do. He left his wife or something like that. So, as I often do, but then if you're a group, right? Let's say this: if you're in a group, right? And you have a leader, and the leader is supposed to represent you, right? If the leader only agrees to do what the governing group says, how do you know, or is everything the group want, the leadership of the group want, is going to be for me? Like, if you're in a red state or a blue state, do we have the same needs? You know what I'm saying? Like, do we have the same hopes and desires? Like, the whole thing about DEI, like, we like diversity over here because we have diverse neighborhoods. Like, we can't not live without diversity, inclusion, and equity. It's not sustainable because everybody in the state has to work. So if everybody in the state is different races, of course, we need to make sure that everybody gets equal opportunity to work. So if your government is all of a sudden, your party is all of a sudden pressing like no more DEI, and you know what that really means, do you go along with your party? And what we see from the Republicans is, yes, they go along with their party, regardless of what they actually may think or what's actually good for their constituents, because it's party over country, or a party over constituents, a party over fixing real problems. As you can see now, did we need to attack Iran now? This is where we at. Was it beneficial to attack Iran now? Not for the country. It was beneficial for the regime and beneficial for Israel, but for the American people, was it beneficial? And they're gonna lie and tell you all these things about how Iran is been trying to get weapons, and then we're gonna talk about that too. I got a video for that too, but right now we're gonna come up on another video, and I want to show you how from that video with Newt Gingrich, and I told you they started doing pledges, and they started just really circling the wagons around the Republican Party, and then their candidate Trump said this.
My people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. No, they say, Trump, we love you too, man. Trump's voters are by far, you know, I'm at 68, 69%. I'm at 90% total. Like, will you stay? Absolutely. I think it's 68 or 69%. Will you most likely stay? That gets into the 90s. Other guys are like at 10. A guy like Jeb Bush,
these names get
nobody,
mentioned?
but he's like at not. I mean, like they don't have people. They have nothing. Rubio, soft. They're all soft.
The Secretary of State.
My people stay. By the way, Cruz, soft.
So you see how he actually said that his people are loyal no matter what. He can shoot somebody, and this has already been talked about before, I know. He can shoot somebody, and then they would still vote for him. And that's where we are right now. He basically has started a war that's killed 6 American soldiers that we know of so far. And they've lost $1 billion radar thing over there, too. We have citizens left over in... see, that's what I'm saying. They had to do this now. Because they didn't warn the people who were already in like Dubai or UAE or Saudi. They didn't warn those people that they were getting ready to start a war, right? There was no planning. If you are of any age and have been through any wars in this country, you know that they start planning, they start talking to the people, getting the people ready for what's getting ready to happen, getting us ready. Trying to justify the war. All we got was we're at war. And that's it. You know, they were going to attack us, so we attacked them through nothing. And then you're going to see how this war was avoidable. Back in 2018, it was avoidable. This whole series of events was because of the this dude, he's not qualified to be president. He always said he can make a deal, but it seems like he can't because he cannot negotiate. As you can see, he could bully is not negotiating. All right, so we're gonna find out exactly why we got to this point and how it could have been avoided.
America, we're going nuclear today. We're going to go back in time to the year 2015 to examine the Iranian nuclear stockpile. This is a pyramid of 100 cups, and each one of these cups represents 100 kilograms of uranium. This is a display of the 10,000 kilograms of uranium 3.5% that Iran had in 2015. That is the uranium that is used in nuclear reactors by all countries around the world. But at the same time, they had significantly enriched it. In the green cups, 20% enriched uranium, they had 370 kilograms of that. And they said it was for research and for medicine. And then something extraordinary happened that hadn't happened in over 60 years, where the mullahs of Iran finally decided to engage with the West, and a deal was struck. And the deal was simple. You denuclearize, we will remove sanctions. Now, you got to fast forward to 2018 under Donald Trump, and after tens of thousands of easily verifiable inspections by the International Nuclear Committee, by tens of thousands of inspections from our allies, as many as 10 SNAP inspections per day, and over 3,000 inspections in 2018 alone, Iran was down to 300 kilograms of the 3.5% uranium, and they eliminated their 20%. And then what happened? We all know what happened. Against the advice of his national security advisor, who told him about all the nuclear reports, against the advice of all our allies who told them about all of the inspections, he canceled the deal. And his reasoning was, it's a bad deal. And that's what his followers said. It wasn't a bad deal. In fact, this was the biggest military blunder in the history of the United States, because it has consequences, because not only did he cancel it, he sanctioned them. Now, they have 215 kilograms of 3.5% uranium. They have 278 kilograms of the 20% uranium. And unbelievably, they now have 409 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium on their way to the 90%, which is nuclear warhead. And I know that you Fox viewers, you don't really know anything that's going on in the world. So please take a look and see that the world was in fact safer before Donald Trump. And before you ask me for my sources, I've gone out of my way to list all of the reports and the sources in the last 5 seconds of this video. America, we're going to beat them at the ballot box. But we need to work together to severely diminish this propaganda network by pushing out content. Like it, share it. I have it on all forms of media, and I don't want a penny
please
for
share
it.
this stuff.
I just want the truth, because this whole thing is a lie. They think he can throw magical thunderbolts and change people, and he can't. And it really has put us all in a gigantic mess that I don't know how we're going to get out of. At the end of the day, cups and cans talk and bullshit walks. America, if you're with me, drop me a comment. I'm with you, Sully. I'm always rooting for you.
He makes great videos. Yeah, if you want some information on that, contact me. I'll get you some more information. His website, Sully Dog, I think it is. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like they were up to 2018. They had the deal was in place, and they were complying with the deal. And the Republicans decided to cancel the deal, and then they started to. So the deal was because of sanctions, right? They needed the sanctions. They were trying to come into, I guess, get back into the world, right? If they don't have the nuclear weapons, they can start getting back into the world. But I don't think that Israel wanted that to happen. During Obama's administration, they did return some sanctioned money, some money they were holding from Iran, because we're holding money from Russia too because of sanctions. The money's in the banking system. They freeze it, they hold it, and they return that money to Iran. And they look at that as a bad thing, or Obama just made a bad deal. The deal had the uranium they could use for weapons down to zero. They were complying, and there wasn't a problem. But Israel doesn't, because they don't come out and automatically say, now this is for the people of Iran, right? The people of Iran are starving because of the sanctions. They can't, the economy's bad because of the sanctions. So, but the leadership is definitely radical, is definitely strong. They do have a terrorist organization, but they don't trust anyone. And because that didn't just come from nowhere. Oh my goodness, I think I'm missing something. That just didn't come from nowhere. That came from, I think I changed it. Okay, that came from just doing bad deals, because we seem to have forgotten, or don't want to forget, or don't want to remember how Iran became Iran. Iran was a very forward-thinking, cosmopolitan type city. Because they have a lot of oil, and the oil was being sold, or how they made a deal with the British, BP, British Petroleum, and British Petroleum was taking their money. So they said, no, this is our money. So, and I'm gonna play this video, but I'm gonna show you, but. I think, hold on one second. Let's see what this video is going to be.
You look at the last few years since October 7th, many people in this part of the world say what happened in Gaza does not align with Christian values. Killing children, killing mothers,
I'll be honest
killing
with
families
you.
who are not militants.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all.
Why?
Because what did we do in World War II? Did we think 1 minute about starving the Germans? Did we bomb every city to smithereens? So this
You
is a
compare
war. No,
October
this is
7th to World War II.
Yes, I am. This is an absolute existential threat to the Jewish people. What happened on October the 7th was 1,200 people.
Lindsey Graham is not Jewish. I don't know why he is such a staunch defender of the Jewish people, and I don't understand why he thinks that. He's saying that they should have bombed Gaza the same way they bombed Berlin, and the same way they dropped the bomb on Japan and with Hiroshima with the nuclear bomb. They should have did the same thing to Gaza, and now he's running around saying they should do the same thing to Iran. And if you know anything about that, you know why they did bump the drum on Japan, because they were at the end of the war, and they knew that if they went, if they tried to take over Japan mainland by landing, it was going to be a fight, and they were going to fight to the death because they didn't. they thought we were monsters. So wouldn't have gone well. There would have been a lot more Americans died, a lot more Japanese died. So they made a decision. I can't. It was a decision correct? I don't know. I wasn't there, but I do know that what we saw on the islands fighting the Japanese soldiers, that they did not want to be captured. We saw that they had kamikazes and the planes, and they were crashing into the ships. So they had a different mentality. I'm not justifying it. That's how it was. Now, Berlin. Berlin. So the bombing campaign on the Second World War, I do watch a lot of World War II documentaries. They were trying to bomb the factories, the ball bearing factories, the rubber factories, all the factories to stop the war machine, building planes, tanks. They were trying to blow those things up, right? And they lost a lot of bomber pilots doing it. Also, they had that Norden bomb site that did not work. They could not precision bomb. It didn't work. There's videos on that too. You can watch. They could not precisely hit anything, but they tried. So, but the bombing was basically them missing the factories and not really hitting what they needed to hit because they were flying so high back then, and they didn't have a good bomb site. They didn't have any guided missiles. So that's how most of Germany ended up being flattened, because they couldn't hit anything. They couldn't hit the things that they wanted to hit. So now, when you have these wars, we shouldn't be really just bombing the civilians. That's what he's saying that we should be doing. That's amazing.
Slaughtered, raped, and murdered and filmed by radical Islamists who would kill every Jew if they could, to the world. If you don't understand this is a threat to Israel's
survival. And then they
survival,
flattened Gaza.
Just flatten it. We flattened Berlin. We flattened Tokyo. Were we wrong to drop an atomic bomb to end the Japanese reign of terror? Were we? So, my view, if I were Israel, I would have probably done it the same way. Without military victory, there is no hope of breaking radicalism. We flattened Germany. We flattened Japan.
How many Americans
Wait a
believe
minute.
this?
Out of that,
How many Americans think the way that you do?
I think most Republicans think the way I do.
Even young ones.
You're just out of touch if you don't understand Republicans, when it comes to radical Islam, is on Israel's side. It's not even close.
When you look at the last few years since October 7th, many people in this part of the world say,
look, he said Republicans, they're on Israel's side. So Republicans, he's speaking for you. Are you on Israel's side? Are we fighting this? So we're fighting this war for Israel. And the Republican Party believes in supporting Israel. You want to flatten Gaza, and you want to flatten Iran to get rid of radical Islam. Now, he's not talking about the government of, he's not talking about the people of, he's not talking about the government of Iran. He's talking about all Iranians, like he's talking about all Palestinians. He's saying that every one of them should be killed. That's what he's saying. And he's saying that is the Republican belief, and that is how the Republicans will take care of Iran. I didn't mean to play that one just there, but that's basically it. Now I'm going to go back and show, yep, I think I got that right there. Yeah. I get afraid to press buttons. Yeah, I'm going to go back and show the Iranian hostage, and then we'll talk about it in a second, because we're going to talk about their hostage situation, how Iran took the hostages, something that we don't talk about anymore, but it did happen. They kept the hostages almost over a year and didn't free them until they took the hostages when Jimmy Carter was president. They didn't free them until Ronald Reagan was elected, and they did try to rescue them one time. That ended with they ended up crashing in the desert. So that didn't work, but they did free the hostages when Ronald Reagan became president, and there was some, conspiracy theories or thinking that they delayed the release of the hostages so that Ronald Reagan can get the credit. Or they saying like, well, they were so scared that they knew that Ronald Reagan was the Republican coming in, and what's the Republican response or the way to handle things is to flatten it. So they thought they probably like, oh yeah, we better get these guys out of here. Yeah.
The thing is, he's not really wrong.
Oh no.
Some Iranians that did not understand why their parents and grandparents were anti-American.
Let me let this up
Those
first.
Iranians will take over. Now they understand why American government is an imperialist, vicious government. And
I will get better. So this is actually talking about how the young Iranians don't remember the hostage crisis, and they view this is the people. This is not the government. The Ayatollah and the president. This is not them. The young people don't remember what happened in the 70s and 80s. So this is now the people of Iran waking up and seeing how America treats Iranians, Muslims in the Middle East. And how because the people are caught in the middle in Iran, right? They don't really. The government is a strongman, is a dictator, a fascist dictator. The same thing we have right now in our government. So the people don't get a chance to vote. That's the supreme leader is the supreme leader for life. The president, I'm not sure where he comes from. Don't really care, but the supreme leader is the one who actually. He's a spiritual leader. He's also the real leader of Iran. And actually, he's a supreme leader for some other countries I found out too. But that's what I'm saying. Every time you go into the Middle East, it's like you don't know everything. We don't know everything. We aren't taught everything. And the government doesn't know anything, because I remember when we went into Iraq, right? We went into Iraq and I didn't know anything about Sunni and Shia. Until that blew up into a fight against the Sunni and Shia. I didn't know, but I guess I didn't know either, because it was a civil war and the United States was caught in the middle. And a lot of people lost their lives, and that's what we're facing now. And Iran is much larger than Iraq, and they keep saying 90 million people. I don't know. You're going to destroy the country for 90 million people and not put boots on the ground, and they've already been suffering already. So let's go ahead and listen to this video.
The thing is, he's not really wrong.
some Iranians that did not understand why their parents and grandparents were anti-American. Those Iranians will take over. Now they understand why American government is an imperialist, vicious government, and a government that attacks other countries and kills little children. They understand they're fighting the Epstein class that either rape little girls or bomb little girls.
You see, this professor was making a point about the fact that younger Iranian people have a different understanding of America than their parents or grandparents. Because this conflict between the US and Iran all started in 1953 when Iran had a democratically elected prime minister named Mohammad Mossadegh. He did something that was common sense, but of course was radical to the colonizers. He nationalized Iran's oil so Iranians could profit from their own resources instead of it getting continued to be exploited by Great Britain. Great Britain had controlled of...
Stop right there. Nationalize their oil. Now you notice that what we just did to Venezuela, we took their oil. So it's always like interesting that the countries we attack, Venezuela, now Iran, both countries are large oil producers.
Iran's oil for decades through the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, what later became known as BP Oil. When Mossadegh cut the British off, Britain immediately ran to the US for help. In 1953, the CIA then went undercover, organized and financed Operation Ajax, which was specifically to overthrow Mossadegh. CIA agents posed as communists and threatened religious leaders, and the US ambassador also lied to the Iranian prime minister about alleged attacks on American nationals. Because of the CIA-supported street protests. Some 300 Iranian civilians died in the streets of Tehran. The Shah quickly returned to take power, and as thanks for American help, signed over 40% of Iran's oil field to U.S. companies. That same U.S.-backed Shah then ruled as a dictator for the next 25 years,
Shah of Iran.
and he also created what was called the Savak, which was his secret police, which killed and imprisoned political protesters around Iran. The crazy part about it is that the U.S. also trained that secret police. The US also armed the Shah by pouring billions of dollars in weapons, and Iranians lived under the US-backed Shah dictatorship for over 26 years between 1953 and 1979. When the Iranian people finally had enough, revolution erupted, and chants of death to America and death to England drew directly on the memory of 1953. This is the part that American media always skips and intentionally rewrites. The revolution wasn't random religious fanaticism. The Iranian Revolution was the inevitable consequence of 26 years of US-backed dictatorship rule. Memories of the US intervention in 1953 intensified the anti-American character of the revolution in the minds of many Iranians. And after the revolution, their new supreme leader came to power, and the US immediately lost its grip on Iranian oil. But by that time in 1980, Iran was weak. The revolution had dismantled the military, and the Iran-Iraq war was just now beginning with the Iraq invasion of Iran in September 22nd, 1980. The United States didn't give a fuck about Iran, but provided them with billions of dollars in economic aid, dual-use technology, intelligence sharing, and special operations training. The goal was only to regain access to Iran's oil by supporting Iraq, who we didn't give a fuck about either. America just jumped on the bandwagon to capitalize on an already weak Iran that was now entering another war. To make matters worse, on July 3rd, 1988, an Iranian civilian passenger plane from Tehran to Dubai was shot down by the US. All 290 Iranian civilians on board were killed, and the US never formally apologized, and as a matter of fact, the officer in command was later even given a fucking medal. The pattern is clear. In 1953, the US overthrows Iran's democracy for oil. For 26 years after that, the US then funds Iran's dictator and his secret police who represses the Iranian people. In 1979, the Iranian people finally have enough, revolt to take their country back, which the US doesn't like. In 1980 to 1988, the US then funds Iran's enemy to overthrow Iran again. In 1988, we shoot down their civilian plane, never apologize, and actually award the general who did it with a fucking medal. And in 2020, Trump orders a drone strike, assassinates Iran's most celebrated military general Soleimani, which the UN rules as unlawful, and then when Iran retaliates, they were immediately called terrorists. Fast forward to 2026, when Trump assassinates their literal supreme leader, high-ranking military officials, and hundreds of their civilians, and yet they're still the bad guys? Mind you, Trump told ABC News that the U.S. had already picked who would replace Iran's government. But they died in the strikes too, saying, quote, the attack was so successful it knocked out most of the candidates.
Crazy.
They're all dead. None of this is self-defense, and all of this was regime change. It's the same shit that they did in 1953, just with bigger bombs. And of course, American media plays Iranian people in the streets, chanting death to America on loop to propagandize and justify America for attacking Iran more. That's what the fuck is happening.
So when you hear people like little Mikey, the Speaker of the House, talking about how evil Iran is and how they chant death to America and will kill every American, that's not true for the Iranian people. That's true for some of the Iranian Guard. Those radicalized people, but that's not how every Iranian views the United States or anybody for that matter. They're just trying to live. So you see how we have been meddling in Iran's affairs for years. And I don't know if they still teach that in school. I'm not sure if I would know. I lived through that. Right? I lived through all that. The hostage crisis, the Shah, all that. Every day on TV, trying to get those hostages back. And we're going to watch the video on that, I hope. Yeah, I think we got it. Yep. No. I don't know. We'll see. Let me see.
The thing is, he's not.
You look at the last few years.
Okay, I got it.
The thing is, he's not.
All right, I have to do a better job on that. Also, let me say that I did post that I was streaming at 7:30, and I did start at 7:30, but I didn't start the stream correctly. It actually was started, but I didn't. There was another button I got to press. I'm doing this all by myself. I don't have anybody to help me. So I didn't press the button over there, so it wasn't actually streaming. It was streaming, but wasn't streaming. So I did fix that. So it is streaming now, but it will be recorded anyway. So back to what we talked about. Let's talk about the... 6. So let's talk about, I'm going to show you the one more video, and I think we're going to wrap it up there. And the reason that I'm showing you this, because what we're dealing with right now, like I said, we are dealing with this through the lens of Republican eyes. And they're telling us that this was inevitable. We need to do this, and Iran is evil, when that's not true. If you, like I said, I don't know if they still how they teach this in school. I wasn't taught this in school. I just lived it. We knew all this happened before, and they act like it didn't happen. Like there wasn't a hostage crisis. Like they didn't blow up a plane and kill a general, and they're still meddling in their affairs. And we know that Israel constantly wants to take out Iran, because Iran, the radicals of Iran, definitely don't believe in the existence of Israel, but I believe that could be talked. That's negotiation. But we had negotiation. They don't have a nuclear bomb. They're not trying to get a nuclear bomb. The man actually said it in the negotiating. We were coming to the table with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. We don't want a bomb. We don't want a nuclear bomb, which is what they had in place. So all of this has been caused by this goofy president, with the full blessings of this Republican Party that don't want what's best for their constituents. I don't know how much we can keep saying that. You're going to see that video about how they broke that Marine's hand, the senator who joined in to the breaking the man's hand party, which is crazy. It's crazy. And I hope this is the right video. Yep.
So it was November 4th, 1979, when the Islamic Republic of Iran stripped 52 Americans, their freedom, their dignity, and their pride.
52 hostages were held for 444 days in Iran from the end of 1979 until January 1981.
My father was William Q, and he was a hostage in Tehran. He was only supposed to be there for the weekend, and all hell broke loose.
They brought Iranian women to the front door, then used them as shields as they broke through the American embassy. So I will never forget the human rights of what they did to the Iranian women then, and obviously what still goes on to this day.
So let's also caveat this, that these people were former hostages, so they're gonna see it from a point where it was a dangerous time, and it was dangerous for them. But then we also have to remember that they were overthrowing a dictator after being repressed for so many years. It went too far. I agree, but that's the caveat I'll add.
Through the broken windows, I can remember hearing the traffic start in the morning, peak, and then die. And there would be day 1, day 5, and you're sitting there thinking that you're forgotten.
From God, my family, and my country. And it was in that order that kept me alive and surviving through that.
We were released January 20th, 20 minutes after President Carter left office.
There's a difference between relations between the Iranian people and the Iranian government. They're two totally different things.
The people of Iran look more towards Western culture as something that they are interested in and enjoy.
Cool.
The regime obviously is opposed to the influence of Western culture in Iran.
The younger generations are coming up, and they're not in the same mindset. They want more freedom. They want to be out in the world, and they're being taken backwards now instead of being able to move forward.
I truly believe that there's many Iranians that would love better than what they have. So, as they would say in Iran, inshallah, with God's will, that might happen.
So let's just think about this situation a little bit, if you don't mind. Let's just play it out like if from what we know, the plan is to just bomb everything. That's what they're doing. They blew up a ship with a torpedo in the ocean. Like, I don't even understand why they did that. I guess it's total war. If it's total war, I understand it. But are there ships shooting at our ships, or is they just blowing up our ships? I don't know. So they're happy and cheering about it. I don't understand it. So unless we're at total war, meaning that our ships are in danger, which they are, but not sure about the Indian Ocean. But they're bombing everything, which I guess their attack. The plan for Iran is to, bring everybody into the fight because they're alone. But the people of Iran are not the people that are the regular everyday people. The guy, the computer guy, the families, the kids, the daycare center people, the people that work in the grocery store, the people that work in a restaurant. Those aren't the people who are firing off these missiles. The people are under the control of the people that are firing these missiles. The people are in the middle, and they are trying to blow up everything. They haven't said, they're talking about no boots on the ground, because basically once you chop off the head, then there's going to be a lot of more little heads that are going to be popping up everywhere. And then we'll learn about this faction, that faction, this control, who's controlling this. And they're already talking about the CIA is in there, and the CIA is trying to arm the Kurds. I don't know what that means. They're trying to arm the Kurds to run the country. There was no plan of what to do after this. So that's why people are freaking out, because this wasn't a war we needed to be in. And then we still have to think about the also attack. They did a joint military operation in Ecuador, apparently targeting some drug lords. So I don't know what about this seems to be what I kind of think about is that Trump got shut down, his tariffs got shut down, and so he's like looking around for what else I can do. And right now the midterms are looking shaky for him. So it's like, let me go start a war. Let me start, and then, Pete, I'm not going to call him Secretary of Defense. He is probably just saying, why don't we attack this? Why don't we attack this? Be the warriors, all that kind of mess. And so that's something he can do. And then, but like I said, it's the Republican Party who is backing him and allowing him to do all this. Would this be happening with the Democratic Party? I'll wait. I don't know. So we had the last Democrat was Biden, but then before that, I don't know why Biden didn't put Biden. I think I kind of wanted Biden to be the president at that time, because I thought we needed a steady hand, but I don't think he had the energy to do everything that needed to be done, because the Iran deal should have been put back in place. Also, if Iraq if Israel gets attacked, then I don't really know what happened. But if Israel gets attacked, everything stops, and then everything is about protect Israel. I don't know how long that's gonna go on. I don't support it anymore. They're not an ally. But then we have the Christian Zionists, and that whole thing. There's just like a lot going on, and a lot of it's baked into people's identity, right? Like, these MAGA and Republicans have been gaslit so long that they believe that the Republicans have their best interests at heart, and they do not. That is why a lot of them are having problems, and they want to come out of MAGA, but they can't, because they believe the Democrats are evil, and we want to give all their children transgender for all. I don't even know what that means. What was he talking about? So they have these wedge issues that they keep bringing up. Before, it was abortion. That's all they talked about. So basically, the whole country was either you for abortion or against abortion. Had nothing to do with running the country, but that's what the people were making their decisions on. If you were for abortion and you're against abortion, and since the Democrats were for abortion or pro-choice, because we're not for abortion, with pro-choice. I used to say I'm so pro-life that I'm pro-choice. I want every baby that's here wanted. Like, I believe that it's best to have a baby born or a child born into a world that they're wanted and they're going to be loved. So forcing every woman and then you're not going to stop people from having sex. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you have the real base of the Republican Party don't really believe in all this Christian shit. It is the Christian people that made a deal with the Republican Party. The Republican Party are business people. They want money. So they made a deal because they're pro life or pro birth. They're not pro-life, we're both, because we killed. You heard Lindsey Graham? Did he seem like he was pro-life to you? He said, flatten it, flatten Gaza, flatten Iran. That's what we supposed to do. The same thing we did in World War II. Now, I haven't seen anything in the Middle East comparable to World War II. The closest was Iraq War, and we pretty much flattened that place. But we went in there to put boots on the ground to stabilize it after the war, and that's when the casualties started. And I guess these Call of Duty people that's running the military right now, Pete, is basically saying that, oh no, we're gonna do it just with the bombs, and then we're gonna quit and everything gonna be all right. It's not our job to pick the next leader, so I don't know what's gonna happen. It sounds like a humanitarian crisis is coming, and so I used to be pretty sure that we were gonna have our midterms, and they were going to not be able to do anything, but I don't know anymore. I really don't. I don't know. These people are thuggish. They're thuggish in a way I've never seen. They are thuggish in a way that death means nothing to them. Killing those girls in Iran on the first day means nothing to them. Dead soldiers mean nothing to them. Dead people getting shot by ICE means nothing to them. Blowing up boats in the Caribbean, for whatever reason they blew up the boats, it means nothing to them. Death means nothing to them. Killing people is what they do. And that's why I'm kind of wondering, like, with the Heritage Foundation, the Federalist Society, this little cabal of groups, and all they want to do is force people to live under them. Is that what we want in America? Is the Republican Party a party that's sustainable in America? I don't know. If they don't really want to do anything to help people, what is the point? Because we're going to be in a recession. We don't know the outcome of this war. We don't know. The man doesn't want us to have elections. So I don't know. That is the Republican Party today. And this is where they were heading. So what's going to, even if we get it back, like, are they going to do it again? Because they did it again. Yeah, so that's where we are, man. We're at a point where, just like when this first started with ICE, I was pretty sure it wasn't going to get to where it got to. Like, they were going to start attacking citizens, and they started attacking citizens. Like, there's nothing guaranteed anymore, and there's no guaranteed safety. The Constitution is there, but with the Republican Party, they're not going to force it. They couldn't enforce the Constitution. They couldn't enforce the ICE and Department of Homeland Security, whatever they call it, to stand down. They could impeach every one of them, because they have the numbers with the Democrats. They do, but they're choosing party over country. They're choosing to allow this madman in the White House to continue to step over or step on every democratic norm that we've ever had, and he's not all there. I know it. He's not all there. Yeah. So we're going to have to take it one day at a time, right? And be ready to do what we need to do. But definitely take care of our families. It is a lot of craziness going on out here. But that's it. You know my answer. I think the Republican Party should be disbanded. I think the Heritage Foundation should be disbanded. I think the Federalist Society should be disbanded and locked up and investigated for crimes, RICO, and get them out of here because they do not believe in freedom. They do not believe in the American dream. They do not believe in a society that's for everyone. They do not believe in the safety net. And they will do whatever they need to do to oppress dissension and to oppress the message of hope, love, and freedom. It's not what they want. They want to rule over us. And we've been fighting it for a long time, but it's here. This time it's here. Is what are we going to be? That's it for me. So what y'all want to hear? Y'all want to hear some go-go? So yeah, I started out with some Vybe band, and I'm gonna play some other Vybe band. I like this band. This band is new to me. Like I said, we're gonna definitely start going out and hearing these bands. But this band they basically play like an R&B over the go-go beat, and it's kind of smooth. I like it. So we're gonna hear that. Hopefully I press the right button, and then we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I love this one. I hear this a lot.
I love to see my people party with me, man. Good to see you, Black World.
If y'all want to come to DC and hang out, let's go do that. Because this is where we're going.
Happy birthday, Miss J. Hey,
I don't know how long I can play this. I'm going to play it for a few more minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and close it down.
all night long. Say what? That's right, baby. Bring it to the front. Hey, Janine. Well, guess what?
See, it's an older crowd, too. This will be where I'll be. That's what I'll be, but the older crowd. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace. Stay woke. Power to the people. And we can win. Man, we just got to keep fighting one battle after the other. All right. Peace out.